Princess Diana, the story of a life that touched the world. Princess Diana was one of the most famous women of the 20th century, but behind the photographs, royal ceremonies, beautiful dresses, and worldwide attention was a woman whose life was filled with dreams, challenges, love, heartbreak, compassion, and extraordinary courage. Her story did not begin inside a palace. It began in a historic English family, with a young girl who would eventually become known around the world as the People's Princess. Chapter 1. A girl named Diana. Diana Frances Spencer was born on July 1, 1961, in Norfolk, England. She was born into the Spencer family, an old British aristocratic family with a long connection to the royal family. The Spencer family had lived at Althorpe, their magnificent country estate, for generations. Diana grew up with her older sisters, Sarah and Jane, and her younger brother, Charles. Although her family was wealthy, Diana's childhood was not always easy. Her parents' marriage became troubled, and eventually they separated. Diana was still young when her parents divorced. The experience deeply affected her. As a child, Diana was known for being shy but kind-hearted. She enjoyed music, dancing, children, and spending time outdoors. She was not initially someone who seemed destined for international fame. In fact, she once worked as a nursery assistant in London. She enjoyed ordinary moments and had a natural ability to connect with children. No one could have imagined that this quiet young woman would soon become one of the most recognized people on earth. Chapter 2. Meeting Prince Charles. Diana first became acquainted with Prince Charles through her family's connections. Charles was the heir to the British throne. He was older than Diana and had already spent years living under enormous public expectations. Their relationship developed quickly. In 1981, their engagement was officially announced. The world became fascinated by the young woman who was about to marry the future king. Diana was only 19 years old. Her engagement ring became famous, and newspapers around the world published photographs of her. For Diana, life was about to change completely. She was no longer simply Diana Spencer. She was going to become a member of the British royal family. Chapter 3. The wedding watched by the world. On July 29, 1981, Diana married Prince Charles at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. Millions of people around the world watched the ceremony. Diana arrived in an extraordinary wedding dress with a long train. As she walked into the cathedral, the young bride became an international sensation. The wedding looked like a fairy tale. But real life is rarely as simple as a fairy tale. Behind the beautiful photographs and celebrations were two people entering a relationship under extraordinary pressure. Diana suddenly had to learn the rules of royal life. Every public appearance was watched. Every expression could become a newspaper headline, every mistake could become a national conversation. Yet Diana quickly developed a special relationship with the public. People felt that she was different. She seemed warm, emotional, approachable, and genuinely interested in ordinary people. Chapter 4. Becoming a mother. In 1982, Diana and Charles welcomed their first son, Prince William. The birth was an enormous event for Britain. Diana became a mother, and motherhood became one of the most important parts of her life. In 1984, their second son, Prince Harry, was born. Diana wanted her children to experience more than the formal world of royal life. She took them to schools, amusement parks, hospitals, and other places where they could experience everyday life. She wanted William and Harry to understand that the world existed far beyond palaces and ceremonies. As a mother, Diana was affectionate and protective. Her relationship with her sons became one of the most important bonds in her life. Chapter 5: The Woman Behind the Royal Image. As Diana became more famous, the pressure surrounding her grew. Photographers followed her everywhere. Newspapers closely examined her clothing, friendships, marriage, and private life. At first, Diana struggled with the enormous attention. But over time, she learned how to use her public position for something meaningful. She became increasingly involved in charity work. She visited hospitals. She met children. She spoke with people suffering from serious illnesses. She traveled internationally to support humanitarian causes. And something remarkable happened. People did not simply see a princess. They saw a human being. Diana often showed emotions that traditional royal behavior had sometimes kept hidden. She hugged people. She held hands. She listened. She sat beside patients. Her compassion became one of her defining qualities. Chapter 6: Her Humanitarian Work. Diana supported many charitable causes during her life. One of the most famous examples was her work surrounding HIV/AIDS awareness. During the 1980s, misinformation and fear about HIV and AIDS were widespread. Diana helped challenge the stigma surrounding people living with the disease. Her public actions sent a powerful message: people living with HIV deserved dignity and compassion. She also supported causes involving homeless people, children, hospitals, and people facing difficult circumstances. Later, Diana became strongly associated with efforts to raise awareness about landmines. In 1997, she visited a minefield in Angola while wearing protective equipment. The images of Diana walking through the area became famous around the world. Her visit helped bring international attention to the dangers faced by civilians living near landmines. Diana understood that her fame could be used as a spotlight. Wherever she went, cameras followed. So she tried to make those cameras show the struggles of people who might otherwise be ignored. Chapter 7: A Marriage Under Pressure. Diana's marriage became increasingly difficult. The expectations surrounding the future king and queen were enormous. Over time, the relationship between Diana and Charles deteriorated. Their difficulties became public, and the media followed every development. The private struggles of the couple became newspaper stories. The situation was painful for Diana, and the constant attention made it even harder. Eventually, Diana and Charles separated. Their divorce was finalized in 1996. Diana was no longer a working member of the royal family in the same way, but she remained internationally famous. She continued her charity work and became increasingly independent. Rather than disappearing from public life, she seemed determined to create a new chapter. Chapter 8: Diana and the World. After her separation from Charles, Diana traveled extensively. She continued supporting humanitarian causes and became an international symbol of compassion. Her popularity was extraordinary. People waited for hours simply to see her. Children smiled when she visited them. Patients often remembered her visits for the rest of their lives. Diana had a rare ability to make people feel noticed. That became perhaps her greatest gift. She understood that fame itself was not the important thing. What mattered was what she could do with it. Chapter 9: Her Final Years. During the final years of her life, Diana continued to attract enormous media attention. Her personal life was constantly discussed by newspapers and television programs. Despite the pressure, she remained focused on her children and humanitarian work. She wanted William and Harry to have as normal a childhood as possible despite their extraordinary circumstances. Her sons remained central to her life. Diana also continued meeting people from different backgrounds and supporting causes that mattered to her. By this point, she had transformed from a shy young woman into a confident international figure. But she was still only human. Behind the famous photographs was a mother, a daughter, a friend, and a woman trying to find her own path. Chapter 10: The Tragic End. In August 1997, Diana traveled to Paris. On August 31, she was involved in a serious car crash in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel. Diana died from injuries sustained in the crash. She was 36 years old. News of her death shocked the world. Millions of people struggled to understand that the woman they had watched for so many years was suddenly gone. Flowers were placed outside royal residences. People gathered in streets. Messages of grief came from countries around the world. Her death became one of the most widely mourned events of the modern era. Chapter 11: A Mother's Legacy. Diana left behind two young sons, William and Harry. Her influence on them continued long after her death. Both have spoken over the years about their memories of their mother and the impact she had on their lives. Diana wanted her children to understand ordinary people and to recognize that privilege came with responsibility. That lesson became part of their lives. Her sons also continued supporting charitable and humanitarian causes in different ways. Chapter 12: The People's Princess. Why did Diana become so beloved? It was not simply because she was beautiful. It was not because she married a prince. And it was not because she wore famous dresses. People connected with her because she showed emotion. She listened to people. She visited those who were suffering. She challenged social stigma. She used her enormous fame to draw attention to humanitarian problems. She made people feel that a member of the royal family could still understand ordinary human emotions. That is why she became known around the world as the People's Princess. Chapter 13: A Legacy That Remains. Decades after her death, Diana's story continues to attract people around the world. Her p.